This is Rick Rule for Rule Investment Media, producer and sponsor of the Natural Resource Investment Conference in Boca Raton, Florida, July 23rd through 27th, inclusive. What you're hearing today is part of our ongoing CEO interview series, where we attempt to make your conference experience more efficient by introducing you to the exhibitors before you go to the conference. Please note that every publicly issued exhibitor at the conference is owned in my account or is owned in accounts managed by me. Yes, this is a conflict of interest, but it's also a guarantee to you, the attendees, that the exhibitors here have been vetted and we know them well enough to invest our time and our treasure in them. I am delighted to introduce you to a friend of very long standing, a man that I've invested with for more than 20 years, Ross McElroy, CEO of Fission. Ross, thank you, first of all, for your efforts on behalf of my portfolio and the portfolio of my clients and listeners for decades. Thank you, too, for your sponsorship, your ongoing sponsorship of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium.
No, it's great, Rick. Thanks very much. It's a pleasure here to be with you, and appreciate your support as well.
We like to begin these interviews by getting our listeners to understand the people that they're proposing to do business with. Tell us something about your background and the background of the senior managers in Fission. Tell them in particular about your uranium experience, given that that's what you're doing today, and your uranium experience in the Athabasca Basin.
Sure. Well, my background, I'm a geologist. I've been involved in uranium exploration right since I got out of school. So right in the mid 1980s, I started exploring for uranium. It was in the Athabasca Basin. Here I am 35 years later, still looking and exploring in the Athabasca Basin and in fact developing. And so it's been a great career in the basin, several discoveries that I've been involved with. And I think, some of the most significant are the ones that have been done with fission uranium.
And tell us something about these discoveries and exits over time. They've been pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it all started in the mid 1980s. I was with Cameco and involved in the McArthur River discovery, and still to this date, the world's largest high-grade uranium mine out there, a very successful one. It's about 2/3 of its way through its production life, but that was where I started. Also involved the Shea Creek discovery on the western side of the basin with Raton. But I think much more relevant and topical would be with our predecessor Fission Energy. We made a discovery at the Waterbury Lake property on the eastern side of the basin, and right near another discovery, Hathor. Anyways, we made our discovery in 2010. We were able to build the deposit. We sold it to Denison, so we were able to monetize that discovery. And then we started up Fission Uranium back in the fall of 2012 with the discovery of the Triple R deposit on the western side of the basin. And that's been an absolute giant high-grade deposit, one that we continue to advance and move towards eventual production.
So let's talk about Fission now and Triple R. Let's talk about where we are, what the investment thesis is. Describe the deposit in terms of tonnage and grade and where it sits relative to other undeveloped deposits worldwide.
Sure. Well, first of all, the Athabasca Basin, I think, is pretty well known and famous for hosting large, high-grade deposits. Well, this Triple R is certainly one of those, but it's a newer generation of basement-hosted deposits, and that's what the southwest side of the basin really has. It's a little bit different than, say, other exploration and development stories in the past. The basement matters because it's easier to mine. There's a lot less technical risk, and that has the bottom line impact by being that they're potentially lower cost producers. So we're out in the southwest side. To me, it's the new emerging mining district of the Athabasca. It's where the future is. The next several decades, we'll see a lot of activity on the western side. We've advanced the project through past feasibility. We're into the waiting for permits to be received over the next 2.5 years that allow us to actually take this project into production and be an incredibly important contributor to the world uranium supply.
Tell us, if you can, from memory, at $60, if that's appropriate, the tonnage, the grade, the net present value, and the IRR.
Sure, I can recite all that. Our feasibility study, by the way, was completed in January this year, so the information's still very fresh. Current information, including all the inflationary numbers we've seen over the last couple of years. But the overall resource at Triple R is about 130 million pounds. Now, about what would it be? About 85% of that is actually in the mine plan, and this is what we have. So we've outlined a 10-year mine plan, conventional underground mining, and this, as I said, in very competent basement rock. We're looking at producing around 9 million pounds a year. So a total right now of over 90 million pounds with a 10-year mine life. And I think that mine life has a lot of room to grow. The net present value at 8% discount after tax is about $1.2 billion. And the IRR after tax is a little over 27%. So, I think those are pretty fantastic numbers. I think it's robust on just about every level. And I think the other key, too, it's going to be one of the lowest cost producers. So at sub $10 a pound US operating costs, all in sustaining less than $13 a pound US.
Ross, to put that very substantial net present value, by the way, thank you for after tax. I hate guys giving me pre-tax NPVs as though I and you didn't have to pay tax. Thank you for avoiding that fiction. Give me a context of the market capitalization of Fission. How much do I pay to get this net present value?
Well, so our numbers, if I understand your question well here, first of all, our numbers are done to $65 uranium. Our market cap overall is about $500 million market cap.
Suffice it to say, substantially less than the NPV.
Correct. It's substantially less than the NPV. Yes.
Yeah, that's where I was trying to get.
Great value.
So we've established the fact that we're a world-scale deposit in a world-scale location. We've established the deposit too. Established the fact too that the people that are responsible and stewards of the company have been there for a long time. One could argue all that's history. Where do we go from here? Tell me what's going to happen in the next 12 to 18 months. Tell me how you're advancing the project. Tell me how you're going to make the project bigger. Tell me something about what happens from here for the next 18 months. What are the catalysts?
Sure, absolutely. So, as I mentioned, I think with now the completion of the feasibility study, we're really focused on receiving our final permits. So, over the next 18 months, I'd say really 2 years from now, we'll have received all the permits required at the provincial level and the federal level to be able to begin construction and ultimately into production. So there's still work going on at the front end engineering design. So some of the more advanced engineering work, we just completed a geotechnical work in the field right now. And I think we'll continue to see successful agreements with the local people that live and work in the area that we are. So in other words, establishing agreements with the local indigenous people that support the project, get it going forward. But the other point I'll take, I think later on in this year, maybe winter of 2024, we're going to be ramping up exploration. The PLS project has a tremendous potential for further discoveries on it. And yes, we have our eye on moving the project forward and getting the Triple R into production. But I think it's also time to start the exploration business again, too. It's something that we've been wildly successful at in the past, and begin looking for new discoveries, of which I'm certain exist on this property. And that effort will probably kick off, later on this calendar year and early into 2024.
Frankly, I'm very excited about that too. I've been around your group for a very long time, and I have enjoyed the success that you have enjoyed with the drill bit. Finally, we like to deliver our listeners a better experience than they get from other conferences. And one of the ways that we do that is that we introduce our listeners directly to the company. I am doing all of these interviews because I want attendees to the conference and others who might listen to this to reach out directly and get to know the company if the company's value proposition of its interest, particularly before the conference, so that you can use your time at the conference more efficiently. Ross, who at the company, which living, breathing human being should our listeners talk to, and how might they contact this person?
Well, we've got a very open group, but I think you're looking at the person that I want your audience to contact. Myself, you'll find me at Ross at fissionuranium.com. We have a great IR department. Everybody's very responsive and eager to tell our story. But so contact me personally via the. Well, you've got my email, but through the website. Subscribe to the for distribution on our website as well, and happy to talk to everybody at the conference. So looking forward to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the boss. The person to talk to is the boss. A CEO that is willing to interact with shareholders is a CEO that values his or her partners. That's the correct answer. Ross, thank you so much for your decades of work on behalf of investors. Thank you, too, for your ongoing support of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium. Albert and I look forward to hosting you in Boca Raton.
And I very much look forward to being there, meeting with yourself and Albert and the audience. It's a spectacular conference. Happy to be part of it. Happy to support it. And thank you very much.
Thank you.